Yo, guys, what's happening? Welcome back. Man, do we have some crazy great news to talk about. Now, I do quickly want to remind you guys before I get into the topic of the video that, of course, the Dark Souls Remastered for Nintendo Switch giveaway is still going on, and I wanted to do a quick reminder verbally really fast because after a slow couple of weeks, I actually had a pretty big surge the last few days on the channel as far as subscribers. We are ever so close. We are less than 80 subscribers away from hitting the goal of 10,500, which hopefully means in the next, I don't know, week or so, if things stay on track, we'll hit that goal, and then I will, of course, be giving away that copy of Dark Souls Remastered on the Nintendo Switch, that extra copy that I ended up with, and I'm really excited to be able to do that. I know a lot of people were interested in wanting to try to win it. It's my first ever giveaway, so I'm really excited about that. So yeah, if you're not subscribed and you stumble upon this and you like what I'm doing and you want to enter the giveaway, please subscribe to the channel so we can give the game away. Okay, with all of that nonsense behind us, let's get to the actual goods here. Because what a crazy, awesome, random surprise update Nintendo gave us a few hours ago, where they mentioned on Twitter, and they also sent an email out, that they are officially canceling the Nintendo Creators Program. They are opening up the floodgates almost as far as allowing people to capture footage and share footage and discuss trailers and have actual Nintendo gameplay without any problems from Nintendo on YouTube. Now, this, of course, is massive news for so many reasons. It is really exciting, and I'm sure that by the time you even watch this, you've probably seen like a trillion other videos by many other people who have been talking about this and tweeting about it and all that good stuff. And I still wanted to honestly make my own video. By the time this goes up now tomorrow morning, the day after, I know it's going to be kind of an old conversation in a way, but this affects so many people. This affects so much happening on YouTube and with Nintendo, especially like the future of Nintendo for sure, and it affects me because, hey, I'm a gaming YouTuber and I mainly talk about Nintendo. You guys know that. So this has direct impact on me, and I really get excited about discussing this with you guys. So like I said, and you guys probably no doubt know, Nintendo did say that they are ending the Nintendo Creators Program and changing how they allow people to use YouTube. And like I said, not only did they post this on Twitter, which had a huge reaction, but they also sent emails out to all the different content creators that are a part of the Nintendo Creators Program. And I will admit that I am a part of it, but I never really have taken advantage of it. And that's kind of why I think my perspective here is a little bit interesting, as somebody who is a Nintendo-focused gaming YouTube channel, but who also really never posts Nintendo footage. At least of current relevant stuff, I very rarely do post their first-party content, and it's because, honestly, using their creators program I think is silly. I don't love it. It's a bit cumbersome. I also don't like PayPal, which is how they actually pay out their creators. I don't have a PayPal account, and I don't want a PayPal account. So it just really never really made a lot of sense just for me personally. But that doesn't mean I didn't actually sign up for it a long time ago, because I certainly did. And so they did send that email out, which confirmed everything. There's even plenty of articles and stuff about it, about them ending the Creators Program. And this is a huge move, man. Like, this is something that people have been talking about Nintendo having a problem with for a long time, for years, as gaming content and Nintendo content grew and grew on YouTube. We started to realize, wow, Nintendo really cracks down on this stuff. Nintendo's one of the few companies that is extremely heavy-handed, very outdated with their approach to their own gameplay footage being shown on YouTube. And it's created a lot of problems, a lot of barriers for other YouTubers. Plenty of people have made rants and yelled at Nintendo and gotten upset about it, including some very, very big YouTubers like PewDiePie and Angry Joe, for example. It's been a problem for a while, and I've kind of discussed before my own feelings. Like, I do think Nintendo has had a very poor relationship with YouTube and creators, and a very poor approach to them overall. Now, granted, I had a pretty decent experience when I worked with them to get invited to the Switch event last year before the console launched, but as far as gameplay content, I mean, they really have struggled with this for years, but they've slowly been making kind of some gains, and even introducing the Creators Program, to be fair, was a huge step in the right direction. I've said that before, and I will maintain it here, even though I'm criticizing how they implemented it. There's no doubt that it was the right idea, and I think that their heart was in the right place, and they were making a huge leap, but they still just didn't understand it. They were still a little too afraid and a little old-fashioned and didn't want to embrace it more fully. But here with this news comes basically the confirmation that they are starting to get it. They do understand what's happening. They seem to see the value in content creators, or, you know, quote, influencers, as some people call us, and what we do, and people like myself and many other people in the community here on Twitch and YouTube, they're obviously seeing the value, and they want to just make it so much easier for us to do the thing we want to do, which is share our opinions and gameplay of all sorts of games from all sorts of companies, not just Nintendo. The big issue, of course, has been Nintendo has been one of the last few remaining companies to be extremely heavy-handed, like I already said, about this stuff. So as far as the fine details, they did, of course, post a link on Twitter and also in that email that they sent out that kind of breaks down exactly what they're doing. And there's some interesting information here. I mean, some of it kind of lets us know maybe why they decided to do this. I think that there's a lot to kind of dissect here. I won't go into all of it right here. Of course, I'll link it below so you guys can check it out, and you should. But I'm gonna read the first kind of couple paragraphs that sort of sets the stage for what they're doing, and go over one or two facts that I think are interesting. So here's what they initially say on their page, basically making this announcement. We are humbled every day by your loyalty and passion for Nintendo's games, characters, and worlds, and respect that you want to be able to express yourself creatively by sharing your own original videos and images using content from our games. As long as you follow some basic rules, we will not object to your use of gameplay footage and or screenshots captured from games for which Nintendo owns the copyright, otherwise known as Nintendo game content, in the content you create for appropriate videos and image sites. And then, of course, to help you, we have prepared this guide for you to basically read over. So that's the initial kind of statements, and it's very interesting, very enlightening as far as what's going on. It essentially sums up everything I already spent a couple of minutes blabbing to you guys about. Nintendo has started to realize there's an advantage and a great benefit to Nintendo to just allow content creators to have a lot more freedom when it comes to using their game content. And it is great news. It is a huge, huge step. And I think it's also, you guys, I think it'll hopefully improve some of my videos as well, because again, you don't see a lot of first-party Nintendo content, video footage on my channel, at least not full screen. And that's been the reason, like I said. So I feel so excited that I can finally feel a little bit more free and unrestricted with how I talk about Nintendo stuff and show more gameplay content. A lot of the times you're looking at my face for most or all of the video because I don't want to show Nintendo's content, or sometimes I'm talking about a Nintendo subject, or you're watching Call of Duty gameplay or Gears of War gameplay, Dark Souls, stuff like that. And I've never really minded doing that, and clearly my channel has done pretty well for itself despite that, but now I can probably be a lot more free to do this great stuff, and now I can talk about Breath of the Wild and show you Breath of the Wild footage, and talk about, you know, like I said on Twitter, once the gameplay footage and trailer for Metroid Prime 4 finally drops, I can show that footage without fear of Nintendo claiming it, and be able to just do that and actually discuss the game and dissect the trailer that way. And I think that that's great. So I'm just beyond excited with what they're doing. This is so great. And not to mention how many other channels are way more focused on gameplay only, or gameplay primarily, and really are going to reap the benefits way more than even I am. I mean, it's really pretty cool, I think, what they're doing for just the whole for the whole community at large. Now, like I said, there are many bullet points in this page that details exactly kind of how they're actually laying out what you can do, what you can't do, what's changing, what's not changing. There's only two that I want to kind of really discuss really quickly. Here's this first one that has to do with monetization. What it says is, you may monetize your videos and channels using the monetization methods separately specified by Nintendo. Other forms of monetization of our intellectual property for commercial purposes are not permitted. Now, I will admit to you guys, when I first read this, I was a little bit worried because it almost sounded like they didn't really change anything from a monetization stance, because I initially read this as, okay, wait, they're saying other forms of monetization of our IPs for commercial purposes are not permitted. And I was like, wait a minute, is that saying you can't have YouTube's AdSense monetization because that's not Nintendo's monetization, that's YouTube's monetization? And while I'm still not even totally sure that that's not what that means, I do think that it means not that. That sentence probably sounded confusing, but what I'm trying to say is I think it's more about creating your own commercials or licensing out something that might include footage from a Nintendo IP, stuff like that. I think that when they say you may monetize your videos and channels using monetization methods separately specified by Nintendo, I'm sure that that includes something like YouTube AdSense monetization, MCN monetization, or even however people get paid on Twitch. You guys know me, I don't use Twitch, so I'm not sure, but I know that there is a way to make money that way, and I'm assuming that that means that as well. It seems like they've opened up the biggest and most immediate primary sources of revenue for people who make Nintendo game content to be able to do it without going through the creators program. And so that part I think is great. Now, in a world where this is wrong, I'm going to have to wait and see if maybe as more educated outlets or people who understand some of this stuff better than even I do actually discuss this and break it down, and maybe we end up learning, okay, they are saying you can't use YouTube AdSense monetization. That might be the case. But for what it's worth, I'm just going to put it out here, 3 hours after this news is brand new, that I don't believe that's what it's saying. I think they're saying all the stuff we want to be possible is possible, but they're still cracking down on the big stuff. Now, this other guideline that they laid out, I found really interesting because I think this relates to some recent news and some recent happenings. It might even be part of what prompted Nintendo to do something like this. But that's tough to say because you have to think that they had this in the works for a while, well before the Smash Brothers leaks from this last week, but you never know. Either way, what they say here is you are only permitted to use Nintendo game content that has been officially released or from promotional materials officially released by Nintendo, such as product trailers or Nintendo Directs. Oh god, just reading it out loud makes me so excited, you guys. You have no idea how much I would personally, the way I make my videos and my conversations and breakdowns of stuff, using game trailers and Nintendo Direct footage is a godsend for just me and my channel. And again, also many other channels, but just talking personally here, I'm so excited. Anyway, the point is, I read this for a different purpose. When they say you're only permitted to use Nintendo game content that's been officially released or from promotional materials officially released, they're basically saying that if you get access to something early, if it's like a review copy, or if it's something that you stole or pirated, i.e. the recent Smash Brothers game ROM leak from last week, that's the stuff that's not okay. So they're basically doubling down on their decisions to go out and like completely get, YouTube channels totally shut down because they leaked the Smash Brothers, Smash Brothers Ultimate weeks before it came out, or they were playing it, or they were posting footage of it or music of it. They went after those people and they shut them down. And some people think that that's them being too, crazy and heavy-handed. Some people think that it's well within their right. I think it's well within their right. And they're basically saying, yeah, this is why we did it, and we're going to continue to do it. You cannot use this stuff. You can only use the actual stuff that's been officially released by us, and that's a huge move. And it makes me wonder, like I said, because the Smash Brothers leak happened a couple of days ago, and they clearly were not happy with it by, evidenced by them going out of their way to shut channels down, it's like, okay, did they put this whole game plan together sort of as a response to that? They wanted to say, hey, we're going to crack down on these things if you do these things, but as a compromise, we're also going to be way more lenient than we've ever been on just other kinds of content and monetization. Anything is possible. Maybe that's part of why they were motivated to do this. But I'll go back to what I kind of had mentioned already, though. At the end of the day, you would have to think this plan was put in place a long time ago, because they already have stated they're shutting the Nintendo Creators Program down like on December 6th, I think, or maybe the end of the month, showing that they've had a plan to do this almost immediately after they made this announcement. And that's a really big deal. I mean, they clearly have been planning to make a big change, and so it's tough for me to think that just a Smash Brothers leak 5 days ago convinced them to do this whole crazy thing. Either way, I'm over the moon about this, guys. This is great news for Nintendo. It's great news for the content creator and influencer community, which does include myself. And I think it hopefully means it's great news for a lot of you guys who are viewers and consumers of all this content that we create out here, because it means, hey, maybe you can get more entertaining videos, or maybe you just like the fact that maybe you appreciate the tight spot a Nintendo-focused YouTuber like myself has been in, not being able to do certain things, and maybe just you appreciate it from a moral standpoint. Hey, this is good for the people that I like that make videos on YouTube, and so that makes me happy because now they're happy. I think that that would be great, and I'm sure that a lot of you guys feel that way as well. It's going to make better products, and it's going to be good for Nintendo. We all know how beneficial this will be for Nintendo. The more Nintendo gameplay footage gets out there, and people reacting to it and talking about it, the better, and as long as something weird doesn't happen where they start cracking down on people who have negative opinions, then everything's going to be fine. And I totally do not expect Nintendo to do that. They are smart, they are fair, okay, sometimes they're dumb, but they're mostly a very smart company. They're a fair company, and I think that they're going to be like, oh, you know, just do what you got to do, and they're going to reap the benefits, and that's great, because that's what a lot of people want to do for all companies. Again, you guys know me. I love and support Sony and Microsoft as well, so I'm happy to do this stuff for their games and their platforms when it makes sense, and I happen to do it mostly for Nintendo because they're my favorite, and now Nintendo's finally allowing us to do that. And it seems like they're really starting to change what they're doing, man. How many times have I said, you guys, in the last almost 2 years, how many times have I talked about this new era of Nintendo, the Switch era of Nintendo? It's a new face for the company. They're doing things completely differently, and they're being successful at it. They have better marketing. They have a better product. They understand third-party relationships better. Now they're showing that they understand the content creator community better and the benefits of it all. And they're realizing, hey, it's better to be working with people in these positions than to be so draconian and so like restrictive with our rules to not make it easy for them to do that stuff. When they realize we're only all doing it because we love the company and love their product. And so, you know, I think that things started to change with Kimishima coming on board, even though, of course, that happened under the absolute worst circumstances. I think he was good for the company in lieu of what happened. And now we have, if I'm saying his name right, Furukawa, hopefully I said his name right, the guy who now has replaced Kimishima. I think this is probably partly due to him as well, and these guys seem to realize and understand what the future of Nintendo needs to be and how to work with the more modern gaming community. And so, to me, it's all good, and as a Nintendo-focused YouTube channel, I am over the frickin' moon about this, you guys. I am so excited. So now, when I have a reason to show Nintendo game footage, I can just do it. And previously, that wasn't the case. So either way, these are my thoughts. And so now I want to hear from you. You know, I know I said you guys have probably already seen many videos on this topic, but I think everyone's videos and conversations and opinions on this matter. I think they're all valid. So I want to hear what you guys think about what I had to say, and what do you think about Nintendo's decision? Is this a good sign for the future? Is this a good sign for YouTube the way a lot of us think so, or maybe you think something differently? Whatever it is, share it below. And that is it for me today. Thanks as always for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Ro2R Review, and I'll catch you next time on another video.